Don't freeze. Oh, okay. So Cjdachamp has just released a second part for Miyamoto Musashi. So yeah, say this is the part 2 of it. I've already watched the first part. If you haven't seen part 1 of Musashi yet, I'll leave the link in the description to part 1. I recommend you watch that first before you watch this one. So, spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched part 1 yet. So yeah, I'm very excited to see this. Here we go.
Musashi disappeared into the shadows and started hunting down every single SWAT team member, just like how Roberta was hunting down those special forces in Black.
Oh my goodness.
These 2 officers were talking about.
Yeah, Roberta. Oh my god. Yeah, the Roberta episode was so crazy. I missed that.
A plan. And the guy that this dude was talking to lifted up his finger in terror and told him, "Sir, he's behind you."
Oh god.
Oh, fuck me.
Ooh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Right off
I
the
know
bat.
it's been a minute since we've done this, but welcome back to the Forbidden Files, the series where we go over the cases of some of the biggest threats to society in fiction. And today we will be taking the second look at the greatest swordsman in real life history, who technically got isekai'd into the Baki universe for shits and giggles, Miyamoto Musashi. I'm gonna let y'all know this before we even get started. This is one of the nastiest part 2s I've ever done. All I'ma say is that we went from having random street fights to becoming a national security threat to the entire country of Japan. 5-star wanted level and everything.
See more insanity.
So without further ado, case 1. Domesticating a caveman and assaulting Albert
god.
Einstein. So Albert Einstein,
he's gonna fight the caveman? Oh shit.
told the authorities to go in the sewers and find the legendary fighter of the Ooga Booga style. And that legendary fighter is, of course, Pickle. So the authorities went into the sewers and dumped gallons of chloroform so they could knock Pickle out and transport him to Albert Einstein. So when they delivered Pickle to Einstein and he started to inspect his body, Tokugawa pulled up with Musashi behind him. And Musashi did not waste a single second when he saw Pickle. He walked up to him immediately, lifted his hand up, and slapped the shit out of him.
Oh, what?
And he didn't even stop with one. He winded his hand up one more time, 5 fingers out in full open palm, and slapped the taste out of Pickle's mouth. So Musashi tells everyone that he was just trying to wake him up. And he was impressed that Pickle took 2 slaps to the face and didn't even flinch. So to really make Pickle wake up, Musashi tried to slit Pickle's throat. And this finally got him to wake up. So when the legend of Ooga Booga awoke from his slumber, he looked dead at Musashi. And his first instinct was to eat this nigga. So he lunged in with the Ooga Booga bite. But Musashi shoves his hand in his mouth, then proceeds to cut Pickle like 50-something times.
How do you let him bite you and there's no blood? How is that possible?
But since Pickle is literally built different, none of Musashi's strikes actually cut him. They only bruised him. So after their first confrontation, they decided to change stages and go to a testing room that could withstand the fight that they were about to have. Now, Albert Einstein was not about to let this happen because he thought that these 2 were such great scientific achievements that having them fight would be a detriment to science. So this nigga pulls out a clock and straight up says, "Oh, all right, now everybody calm down. Now you know
I was not expecting Albert Einstein to pull out a Glock. Bucky is just unhinged.
I can't have nobody touching my nigga Pickle like that. So tell Musashi to back up, or I'll switch his ass down and Swiss cheese your ass too, Tokugawa." So while Albert Einstein was holding up the room at gunpoint, his wrist ends up getting dislocated, and he gets mind shredded by Musashi. Einstein literally felt himself die. And then while Musashi had the gun, he was like, my. So is this the weapon you use in the modern day to switch down your enemies? Then this crazy bastard proceeds to shoot 2 bullets right in between Tokugawa and some random scientist. Like, if this man was off by just a little bit, these 2 would be dead. Now, after Musashi traumatized Albert Einstein and had him sitting in the corner looking like he got put in timeout, Pickle and Musashi started round 2 of their fight. So Pickle lunges in with the Ooga Booga kick, but Musashi hits him in his calf once and had Pickle screaming in pain. So then he went in for a rising Ooga uppercut, but Musashi cuts him across his chest, making him feel excruciating pain again. So Pickle decided to revert back to factory settings, and he gets in his stance where he's on all 4s. So he lunges at Musashi
a factory reset?
and slams him into the wall, and they end up having a test of strength. But Musashi, knowing that Pickle had way more brute strength than him, decided to use that big brain and show off that battle IQ. So he plants his feet on the wall and launches his head into Pickle's face, and they ended up hitting down the legendary fighter of the Ooga Booga style. But you see, Musashi wasn't satisfied with his victory because he craved more violence. So he proposed that they have a rematch. And in this rematch, he would be able to use his actual swords. And he wanted Pickle to be completely starved of food. He wanted to fight him in his most feral state possible. So this was basically going to be another fight to the death. One of these dudes were not walking away from this. So now we fast forward to the
terrifying.
final round. And the moment Musashi walked into the ring, Pickle lunged at him with the Ooga Bite. But Musashi had quick draw, quick forward sword. So he swings his sword into Pickle's face. But Pickle's body was so strong, his muscles stopped the sword from cutting through him. Then he swung the Ooga right hook and sent Musashi across the ring. Look at the way he hit the wall. Bro got his arms crossed looking like he just had a seizure mid-hit, and his busted ass sandals got flung off too. Now during this fight, Pickle started showing everybody firsthand human evolution. This dude picked the sword up that Musashi hit him with and started swinging the sword. We were literally watching this man evolve in front of our eyes. Pickle finally got the Humanity 2.0 update. So Pickle tried to swing the sword on Musashi, but Musashi cut his eye with his hand.
Oh
then
my God!
His sword and cut Pickle 6 times. Twice in the elbows, twice in the shoulders, and twice in the knees. He strategically went for the most important joints in the body.
How are you still moving after getting your elbows and your knees sliced? Oh, that is so awful. And even as a caveman, I'm sorry, like, how can you, like, be able to move properly after that?
Now, after Musashi sliced up Pickle's joints, Pickle started transforming into his legendary super Ooga
Oh, even his cheeks are tooted up.
Final strike. So Pickle lunged at Musashi just for him to slice both his wrist and his ankle, taking out the rest of his important joints.
Oh, this
and after
form.
that decisive strike, this fight was over. And Pickle did the unthinkable. This man saw Musashi as a giant prehistoric hornet, and he was a predator that he could not beat. So he started trembling in fear.
Oh my goodness.
On all 4s and left. Pickle ran away. He did not want any more smoke from Musashi at all. The man who dominated everybody in the arc before this, and a slayer of one of Truck Coon's avatars, ran away like a bitch. Musashi domesticated this nigga.
You do that?
After Musashi traumatized Pickle and turned him into a house dog, the next person that stepped up to Musashi was Mr. I'm gonna protect everyone, Motobe. Now, I ain't gonna lie, Motobe fought Musashi like he had something to prove. And I low-key wish I seen the signs before the fight. Because tell me why this man hit the Triple H water spit before the fight with a bottle of Hennessy. This is a nigga that has nothing to lose. I should've known he was gonna whoop his ass just off of this. Now, he came into this fight like Batman. Bro's prep time for this was insane. He had a whole game plan to take this man out. So before they start, Motobe offers Musashi a cigarette, and he wants to sit down and have a lung cancer session with him.
Wait, did cigarettes exist back in the 1600s?
Musashi, being up to date with modern commercials, has seen all the no smoking ads, and he refuses because this man already died from lung cancer once. This is actually how he died IRL. Also, he figured out that Motobe poisoned the cigarettes the whole time. So Musashi flicks the cancer stick back at Motobe.
Damn, in the face, like in the eyes.
Scarring his face, then shoves all that nasty ass tobacco down his mouth. So after Motobei put Musashi on his ass, he just started using every weapon you could think of. First thing he did was throw a flashbang at his ass. Then when he was flashed, he came in with a mace and started clocking his shit.
Damn.
He hit him so hard he lost his back teeth.
Oh,
so after he
thanks
was
for
done
that.
beating his ass with the mace, he pulls out a short spear and lunges in at him and tries to shank him. Now Musashi cuts the spear in half, but Motobei countered and kicked his teeth down his throat. Then he pulled out brass knuckles.
Oh, not the
with
brass
some
knuckles.
spikes on him and rocked him with the right hook. Motobei was whooping that ass. He actually had this man Musashi sweating. Now, while Musashi looked like he was knocked out on his knees, he
Part of
ended
his
up
shoulder
pressing
got
Motobei down
chucked
with it.
off.
But Motobei, with all that Batman prep time, planned for this if it ever happened. Because under his clothes, he had a whole set of chainmailed armor.
That makes
even
sense.
though Musashi still cut through it, it weakened the blow. So since Motobei's whole torso was wrapped in armor, Musashi tried to go for the weakest parts of the body. So he sliced Motobei's wrist and basically severed his hand from his arm. His hand was hanging on by one muscle fiber. Then he took his ankles. Then after his legs gave out, Musashi cuts him right down the shoulder blade. But while Motobei was on critical health and 1 HP, Aki yelled, "Stop the fight!" And this distracted Musashi. So Motobei took advantage of this and tackled Musashi. Then when he got Musashi on the ground, he did the exact same shit Mark did to Conquest. If your limbs ain't working, then use your hard-ass head. So he started button Musashi over and over again. Bro was shoving his skull into his face. Then he took Musashi's back and started to choke him out. And Musashi was fighting to get out of the hold. He shoved his sword right back in the shoulder blade wound. But Motobei did not care. He was going to put Musashi to sleep. So after about a good 10 seconds, Motobei did the unthinkable. He made Musashi go night-night and won
That is
the fight.
wild.
Motobei was the first man in history to beat this nigga. Everybody watching the fight
That
were
is
in shock because they
insane.
couldn't believe what they just saw. They just witnessed the biggest upset in history. This was like when the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak ended. Complete shock. Niggas had no clue what the they just witnessed. And Musashi actually just took this loss on the chin. He admitted defeat and just straight up walked away. But what was about to transpond after Musashi lost was complete chaos and was going to change the entire country forever. Case 2, declaring war on Japan. So
Wait,
after
what?
Musashi took his first ever L, he went on the Tonight Show to get interviewed by bootleg Jimmy Fallon. And the reason why he did this, I'ma be real with you, I don't know. But what this man was about to do to bootleg Japanese Jimmy Fallon was going to make him the most wanted man in Japan. So Jimmy goofy ass started asking,
Wait, what is that desk made of?
But what this man was about to do to bootleg Japanese Jimmy Fallon was going to make him the most wanted man.
What
in
the
Japan.
heck?
So Jimmy goofy ass started asking, "Oh yeah, so you're the legendary Musashi Miyamoto. But I mean, you gotta be LARPing, right? I mean, the cosplay looks great, my man. But we all know Musashi's been dead for like 400
cosplay?
years, so we all know you're not the real one, so you could drop the act." So after Jimmy
mean,
told
you are in
Musashi to
Baki.
quit LARPing, Musashi stood up out of his seat and
I mean, the bro thinks that this dude is in a cosplay. Meanwhile, Yujiro. I don't know if the TV show host has seen Yujiro, like, around. Like, after that, I wouldn't question anything.
his invisible sword was visible to everybody. Even on the TV broadcast, you could see it. Then Musashi told Jimmy, "Excuse me, sir, but what is LARPing and what the hell is cosplay? Is this what you modern people call rage bait? Because I think I just took it." So Musashi, clearly taking this as disrespect, decided to show Jimmy that he was the real deal. So he sliced Jimmy right down the middle on live TV and knocked his ass out cold for the entire world to see. So after he knocked out Jimmy Fallon live on his show, they put an arrest warrant out for Musashi because he technically assaulted a man live on TV. So the cops pulled up to Tokugawa's
Like he cares.
estate and surrounded him. Now the investigator came up to Musashi and told him, "Mr. Miyamoto Musashi, you are under arrest for the assaultation of Jimmy Fallon." So after the investigator told him he was under arrest, Musashi just smirked at him and told him, "Okay, I'll come." That is, if you can take me or not. So he draws his sword and cuts their batons in half. Then he blitzes the investigator and crushes his eye. Then all the other cops—
Bro, you don't even have to do anything.
Taken out with one hit. They didn't stand a chance at taking this man in. So after Musashi dropped 6 cops and crushed a investigator's eye, they officially put a 5-star warning level on this man's head. They had the SWAT team and the JSDF on his ass. He was the most wanted man in Japan. And since he was wanted and thought he was at war—
I'm pretty sure these people fought Yujiro before. So what makes you think you're gonna fight this guy?
This is when Musashi became completely unhinged, because now he was done with knocking people out. Now if you approached him, he was gonna kill you. And the first example of this is when the investigator pulled back up to him.
Bro,
now,
really?
I don't know if bro had a big ass set of balls or if he was just stupid and lost brain cells when Musashi punched him earlier, because he really had the audacity to approach this man alone. So he whips out his gun and tells him, "All right, Mr. Musashi,
do you really think your bullet is gonna do anything?
And there's no way out of this one. We got 100 officers in riot gear ready to beat your ass. So it would be best for you if you would just come along quietly." So Musashi seen the investigator whip out
split that gun in half.
Signaled to him that he was trying to have a duel. So he told the investigator, "Okay then, let's see if you could shoot me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. What in the name of fuck?" And when this man sheathed his sword, the investigator got split in half. It was
who didn't expect that?
Cut. He evenly distributed his body into 2 serving sizes. And the cut was so clean, he also split the gun.
I already called it.
He split the investigator in 2. He goes up on top of the bridge and is confronted by a 100-man riot squad.
Yeah, let's see how fast he goes through that.
Everybody to surround him. And he tells Musashi, "We know you could cut through almost everything, but we got something that your ass can't even cut. Boys, hose his ass down." So they shoot a high-powered water hose at this man, but Musashi dodged and weaved the high-powered water. Then he jumped onto the truck and split the truck in 2. And after he split the truck in 2, the officers had no clue what the hell to do. They were terrified of bro. So the leader pulls out a taser and starts to tase Musashi.
Taser?
And this taser was 500,000 volts. And just for reference, a regular taser is only 50,000. So this taser was lethal. You could literally see his skeleton. So Musashi ended up falling to the ground. And the captain continued to tase bro. He had a smile on his face and everything. I ain't gonna lie, just looking at this, they might have to go back and look at bro's body cam history, because I don't trust this nigga at all. It got to the point where the other officers had to stop him. So he finally let go of the trigger. And all of the policemen thought that Musashi was dead. But about 5 seconds later, when they were all surrounding him, they heard, "Well, shit. Y'all motherfuckers just tried to fry me like some chicken." And every officer pissed their pants simultaneously. They could not believe this man was alive. So Musashi sprung up and threw the taser
was that
off.
sensor?
Then while the captain was still pissing his pants, Musashi swung his sword and decapitated the captain. Bro went out in one of the worst ways I've ever seen somebody go out. He pissed his pants and got decapitated
thank you for censoring that.
time. His legacy in that police department is cooked. They all gonna remember bro's last moments was him pissing his pants while getting beheaded. So after all of this happened, he went up to this one trooper, and to assert his dominance,
why
a riot shield.
I'm surprised they're not running away.
He shredded the dude's riot shield. He told all the other officers, "Pick up your dead and get the hell out of my way." And guess what all those 99
get out of the way.
did? They were good boys and did exactly what he said. They picked up the dead captain and got the hell out of bro's way.
There we go.
They just let him walk because they knew they couldn't do anything to stop him. So after they let Musashi go, the Prime Minister of Japan decided to deploy everything at this man and just
Bro, are
down
you
the whole
kidding
city.
me?
Musashi at this point was considered a Avengers level threat. He had to go. So they pulled up on—
Yeah, the police leaders are completely dumb. You know this is gonna be a slaughter.
with a bunch of armored trucks and choppers. But all this man did was smile because he was excited that he had the opportunity to test his swordsmanship against the modern army. So Musashi disappeared into the shadows and he started picking everybody off like Roberta did to the special forces in Black Lagoon. These two officers were talking about a plan. And the guy that this dude was talking to lifted up his
you need a
finger
plan
in
for
terror
this.
and told him, "Sir, he's behind you." Oh, fuck me. So after Musashi murdered the first guard, he cuts off the other poor guy's arms and disperses back into the darkness. And since he had everybody confused and bamboozled, and they had no sort of plan at all, they were easy pickings for Musashi.
Of course.
He would pick off one, then disappear. Then he would appear again. And he kept on doing this over and over again because they had no coordination at all. And he was too fast. They couldn't see him. This ended up turning into a bloodbath.
Yeah, this is the part where I would just run away. If all of your teammates are getting diced,
because multiple
I would
SWAT
run.
team members were getting chopped in half. And if you're wondering, CJ, why can't they just shoot him with a gun? Oh, they tried, but they couldn't hit him at all. They had that good old stormtrooper aim, can't hit shit from a foot away. This one guy tried to switch him down, but he jumped over his bullets and made him eat a knee to the face. Also, just to add on, that knee strike was so strong it shattered a bulletproof visor. So the nigga that got hit by that is probably dead. So this one guy tried to get the situation under control and told everybody to surround the cars that he was moving between. But out of nowhere, Musashi appears on top of the car and jumps down and slices the commander in half. So after Musashi cut the commander down, he yelled to everyone again, "Collect your dead, mount your chariots, and leave." And guess what they did? They were also some good boys. They
should have done this
got in their armored trucks and
earlier
left because they valued their lives. They was not about to throw their life away like everybody else. And just off of this scene alone, this man took out like 5 SWAT team squads, bro. So after Musashi dismantled the police force, they came to the conclusion that their best option to stop Musashi was to rely on a 20-year-old that looks like he's 40. They begged Hanayama to fight Musashi because they knew he was durable enough to take multiple sword swings. So Hanayama confronted Musashi in Shibuya. And since this is a Baki universe, you know every single NPC stopped what they were doing to watch this fight on the side of the street. So big body Hanayama charged up his first punch and threw it right at Musashi's face. And look at this impact. He literally indented his whole fist into Musashi's face before sending him flying down the street. So after Hanayama laid out Musashi, he picked up his whole body with one hand and winded up another massive punch. So he swung at Musashi, but he blocked it with his blade. But even though a whole sword was in Hanayama's fist, he didn't give a damn. He threw another punch at Musashi's face with the sword in his fist and sent him rolling down the street like a bowling
pain
ball.
receptors?
Then this man, being such a gentleman, decided to hold out his fist and say, "My fault, OG. I forgot to give you your sword back and shit." So he ripped the katana out of his fist and chucked it at Musashi. And Musashi caught it at point blank range. Now after this, Hanayama had an uppercut coming from hell, and Musashi dodged and proceeded to cut Hanayama's back a total of 5 different times. Now this would have killed anybody else, but obviously Hanayama's built like a tank. So he just turned around and said, "Damn, OG, that kinda stung a bit." So Hanayama wanted to have a test
What are you made of?
Musashi. So he grabs his hand and just starts to weigh him down immediately. Then he gripped Musashi's face and started crushing it with his gorilla grip ass hands. So it got to the point where Hanayama slammed him on the ground, and it looks like Musashi's eyes were about to pop out of his skull. But when Musashi was trying to gasp for air, he quickly drew his sword and sliced Hanayama straight down the gut. And this finally brought big body Hanayama down to his knees. So after Hanayama got hit with this strike, he had to take a whole time out to wrap his body back up. So while he was wrapping his bandages back up, Baki just spawned in out of nowhere.
Where'd he come from?
"Hold on, twin. I got something for you real quick. I brought the motherfucking hit."
Baki, what have we learned?
So Baki sprayed a bunch of Hennessy on Hanayama and told Hanayama to go cook that fraud. But sadly, this hype me up moment did not work at all. They started fighting again and Musashi cut his back. Then Then he ended up slicing his face. Then he shoved his sword in his eye. Then spun his body back around. Then finished him off with one more slice to the back. So after he took all of these strikes, Hanayama sat down and he basically gave up because he knew he was cooked. There was no beating this man. So after Hanayama sat down, Musashi came up behind him and tried to take his head. He wanted to really finish the fight for good. But Baki stopped him right before he was about to do it and said, "Hey, OG, you draw that sword on my twin and I'ma have to kill your ass, OG, you heard?" So Baki challenges Musashi to one final fight. And he was actually going to take this fight seriously and not get embarrassed like he did last time. So they have their final fight in the underground arena. And obviously, because this is the Baki universe, there was an entire live crowd of people that paid to watch this shit. Hell, even Biscuit flew from America to watch this fight. Now, obviously, he came alone because he can't take his wife with him. And if he even tried to bring her big ass on that flight, that flight is crashing down and it will be joining the likes of Malaysia Airlines.
It's been so long.
Baki and Musashi score off for their final fight to the death. Now, the first thing Baki does is throw a kick at him, and the kick whiffed like crazy. All it did was catch one of his eyebrow hairs on his toe.
Eyebrow?
So Baki tried to play it off like, "Damn, OG, if that land on your chin, you going night-night, twin." But then Musashi just smiled at him and told him, "Impressive, little nigga. But tell me, how do your ankles feel right now?" And the moment he said that, Baki fell on his ass. And he realizes Musashi broke his ankles. And while he was on the ground processing what just happened, Musashi shoves the bottom of his sandal in his face. Even though this was a fight to the death, this was a cheap shot of hell. Musashi is a dirty ass fighter, I cannot lie. So since Musashi was gonna fight like that, Baki was like, "Fine, I'll fight like a dirty son bitch too." So Musashi leaps towards Baki. But Baki, unlocking the speed force, disappeared for like a good second. And then when he reappeared, he punched him 3 times and punched him in the balls. And that punch that he threw damn near knocked bro out. This is probably the hardest bro has ever been hit in his life. Look at this nigga. He is
Baki gonna be the one?
And he is grabbing his balls thinking he lost them like Okarum. So after Musashi recovered from getting his testes eviscerated, he was like, "All right, little bro, I gotta get you back somehow." So Baki went in for a swing, but Musashi cut him across the torso. Then he grabbed his arm and told him, "Let's see how you like your balls getting crushed."
Oh no!
Baki in the dick. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, when I first watched this, I low-key felt the pain of this shit through the screen. Like, look at this man Baki, bro. Bro's in pure pain. I ain't gonna lie, Baki fans, y'all might not have to worry about a Baki next generations. Cause this nigga not having no kids, the Hama bloodline ends here. So while Baki was walking around holding his shattered jewels, Musashi walked up behind him and sliced him down his back, which made Baki feel his entire upper body getting cut off. Then he shoulder tackled him and sent Baki flying out the ring. So after Musashi hit Baki with a ring out, Baki recovered and tossed Musashi's sword to him. And Baki picked up the other one. So when he had Musashi's other sword, Baki started talking shit, saying he was gonna copy his techniques and slaughter Musashi. And he was doing this so he could get Musashi to act arrogant and make a mistake. So he threw Musashi's second sword at him. And Musashi, being an arrogant bastard and wanting to farm more aura points, catches the sword with his bare hand. And this was the opening that Baki was looking for, because both of his hands were occupied. So he kicks Musashi in the face, and he kicked him so hard, his soul left his body for a good second. So after Musashi's soul returned to his body, Baki went in for his last strike. Now Musashi caught the blade again with his bare hands. But that is exactly—
You know, I realized, I think it's like a Baki requirement for everybody to have like perfectly shaped cheeks.
Exactly what Baki intended to happen. Because when Musashi was distracted, he gets ambushed by the old freaky ass lady.
What in the world?
In his body in the first place. And she starts to suck the soul out of Musashi. Nigga, this shit nasty. I ain't gonna lie, I can't even commentate this part, bro. I'm getting nauseous just looking at this shit on my screen. So after the freaky ass old lady sucked the soul out of his body, she started doing her voodoo shit like and she releases Musashi's soul, finally putting it into the terror that she brought into this world with her freaky voodoo shit. And they put Musashi's body in cryostasis. Now you're probably wondering, why are they not burning this nigga? Why are they not burying him? because these dumbass scientists in Tokugawa's bald ass decided to preserve his body for the name of science. Now cool, this is a great science experiment, but what's gonna happen if a freaky witchcraft voodoo nigga breaks in and decides to put Musashi's soul back in that body? Then everybody's gonna be He's gonna come back like Thanos and say, you should have gone for the head. Because these niggas decided to keep his body. I am 99% sure that Tokugawa and these scientists will make great friends with Cecil. Because the one thing they got in common is not finishing the job. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Musashi Files. Unless they bring this man back with more voodoo magic. And if they do, then God help everybody in that universe. That whole police department need to pray, Albert Einstein need to pray, and Jimmy Fallon ass, because if he interview him again with all that rage bait, that might be the last interview he ever does. Their best bet is probably offering up the entire economy up to you, Jerome, and telling them, here, nigga, damn, here's everybody's tax dollars. Now please save us.
Wait, is that Trump?
But with that being said, this case is closed. And I will see y'all again soon for some more Forbidden Files.
That is insane. Yeah, that was very epic. Yeah, great job, CJ. But yeah, if you haven't seen part 1 yet, definitely go watch that before watching this. And yeah, that was a really great part 2 for Musashi. That is, and also that was more graphic than usual, but I would have expected that from, you know, anything from Baki. But yeah, very good video, and definitely go check out Cjdachamp if you haven't already.